So here we are. This is where it all starts. I guess this is a unbagging. This is Nellie, the Small Brook Studio Loco kit. Originally was going to be Daphne, but I think is now probably going to be ROSiE. I think ROSiE is a better name. So, instructions, which are always quite clear, with a picture and some hand-drawn diagrams, but clear enough, and the little range of parts. Boiler, cab and cab roof, the chassis, which we'll come back into a second, although it looks like there might be a broken piece in there. The buffer beams, miscellaneous drawing pins and pieces of brass rod for the buffers, the tank sides, coal bunker, whistles, lights and springs. So as you can see, everything you need to put Nellie or ROSiE together. And next, we need a way of propelling her down the line. So, we have the Hornby 040 locomotive chassis. I'm not sure if this is Ben or Smoky Joe or one of them, but it's the one that's made in China, which is supposedly a little bit better. That came from Small Brook as well. And then, of course, we have the blue rail board, so we can run dead rail. These are about the size of a 00 gauge railway tender, but then you have to hide the battery, and at the moment a little 1-inch cube speaker. As you can see, that might be a little bit of an issue with ROSiE. In Olive, this was all put in the tender, so maybe we'll build a tender, but then maybe we can find a little wagon that will run behind her. Okay, let's clear the decks and we can make a start. And the obvious place to start is with the chassis. So on the chassis we have to get the flat bits flat. So let's start with the old simple trick. Piece of glass and a couple of bits of sandpaper, starting with a slightly coarse one to start. I think this is a 150. We go down to a 320. We have to get things nicely flat. It's an outside job because it's dusty, so we've got the other little pieces that need doing at the same time. So with the Hornby chassis, you have to make a couple of alterations. But before we do that and start chopping the chassis up, we'll make sure that we've had a little run in so that all is working. Little rolling road. And we'll leave that for 20 minutes or so to run in. So the chassis is built as per instructions. The cylinders are on and you can see the buffers are in. We've taken the little Hornby 040 chassis and taken the couplings off the end and taken the cylinders off that and just connect those together, making sure the rods go in the cylinders and give them the coat of paint, of course, and that just clicks in. We have the beginnings. And a quick dry fit of the rest of the locomotive. I've drilled the firebox out because I've got some little LEDs that will make the firebox light up, and then I'll put a little door on that. And I've also drilled out the chimney right through. I'm not sure you can see that because I've like Olive, ROSiE will have a smoke unit put in it. So we'll just do a little dry fit. And then some added detail, the things I like to do, which no one ever really sees. These are the Nellie plates. I actually didn't take the Nellie off. I just turned them over so they're a little proud. A little ring of cardboard around them and some extra pins for the rivets. And yes, I used a different size pin to do the full stop on the, or the dot on top of the ROSiE. So yeah, things coming together. So a little bit further on with the build, we've built a coal bunker. I've added a little extra piece, just a piece of cardboard again, with some coal, well, what will be coal. So let's get that on the right end. So that's just a little bit of blue tack just to hold it in place at the moment, just to give you the idea. And we've progressed on with ROSiE a little bit. Bit of milliput in the places. I've added a little extra bit in around the tanks to try and cover the motor up. So that'll sit nicely there. One of the hardest things even on Olive and including ROSiE was actually drilling the chimney right through. Bit of a delicate job, and it's long enough that most drill bits won't do the whole job, and that's to add the smoke unit. And I don't know if you can see that. I think this is a Sleuth 90. I think that's a 99. So that just pops in there. And that was before I mentioned I drilled into the boiler. So that will go in there. Allow the wiring in that. And ROSiE, like Olive, will run dead rail, and I've actually been using a 12 volt power supply using the pickups to run the smoke units, and a momentary button gives me power in certain parts of the track, which gives the smoke. But perhaps we'll test that next and do the LED for the light. So as you can see, the lamps on. Actually, we added the brake pipe in, which I've done slightly differently. Little battery just to check the LEDs working. Oh, the wrong way around. So the LED works, that's fine. And a little hole in the chassis plate of ROSiE, that just goes in there. The other two wires are for the smokestack. So we'll put that aside a little bit. And then this is the blue rail setup and the dead rail. So little magnet fires the reed switch up, and we should have a red LED and a green LED, and go into our phone and find the app, open the app. It's still called board 2 at the moment, so we connect board 2, connect. It comes alive, hopefully. There you go. So you get this screen. We'll go quickly into tools actually. You can see that you can change this from diesel to steam, you can change the acceleration, de-acceleration, you can switch it from a switcher, freight, passengers, just literally at the touch of a button. So this is ROSiE, so just put in ROSie's name and return, and we'll start ROSiE up. The moment the sound is on my phone, which you can sort of hear, yep, and you can turn the volume up and down, but we can add in this cube speaker, which goes live.
Bluetooth mode.
And it should switch over. There it goes. And again, you can hear the sound through this little Bluetooth speaker. We have a little 11-volt lithium battery through the blue rail circuit board, orange and grey straight to the motor, like any other DC. As you can see, this is rather a lot to hide inside of ROSiE, so I have a plan for that. But then you can just fire up the motor. And I don't know if you can see that, but let's turn the sound down a little bit. And that's the beauty of dead rail. No points to get stuck up on, and all controllable by phone. So I've had a few more hours to put a few more things together. Bit more work on the coal bunker, obviously a bit of primer. I did my little coal doors. Made some little tools. I just happened to have one of these little jugs floating around. Just thought it was cute. Beauty of this stuff is there is no rhyme or reason why things can't be on there. Actually, we'll just take those off for a second. No rivet counting on these models, that's for sure. One of the things I highly recommend to put these models together is a pin drill and a selection of small drill bits. Michael's very kindly supplied the initial holes, but most things need a bit of drilling out. Just to make things fit that a little bit better. And the little pin heads that come supplied in the kit. Just go in there and then can be glued in. I'll probably put some valves in the bottom, made just of a little bit of copper wire or something as well. So as I said, that's just those drilled and put in. Couple of things to Bernie to clean the boiler out. A little spade, little brass rod, piece of cardboard on the end, that's all that is. There. Little mug. Not sure where that came from actually, I think just some doll's house stuff that someone gave me. But my main reason for the extra bit of video before I got too much further is I've been detailing the cab. So the copper wires Michael supplies in the kits, along with the regulator handle, I decided to put a reversing gear, a little bit of wire in, not quite sure. Looks good. Did the smoke box darts just to add a little bit more. And then the release valve, using the little drill bit, just added a few more pins. Bent the pins that Michael supplied in roughly the shape. Little extra, little square of cardboard just with 4 pin heads drilled in. Actually I did a slightly different one on the other side. And that's coming together quite nicely as ROSiE. Hope you agree. So the next stage will be a bit more gluing, and then we're going to be into painting. So I haven't really shown the painting process. A rattle can just for the grey primer, and then most things should be that Great Western green, so that's the green. Another rattle can, and just general masking, that's all. And finally the beauty shot. Could you hold the tarp up a little bit more, Mr. Woods? Thank you. Few more details to go on yet, but I'll show you those later. And when I've got the idea for the dead rail sorted out, maybe we'll throw a little video up for that. Well, thank you very much for watching. And don't forget, subscribe